Watashi wa Jose o Basaru no ga Daisuki. Before I start this video, I want to let you guys know these women that I show are women that chose me. I didn't choose them. But I think if you watch my earlier videos, you would understand this. But I thought I should make that clear before I tell the story. I have many stories to tell about this woman. She has only been in my life for a few years, though she is a very interesting one. She has children, of course. Not by me, of course. But the children are pretty good children. I didn't have many issues with them, and I've been around them a few times. This woman is a woman who I looked at as a potential mate because she fit a lot of the things that I had in mind when it came to dealing with a woman long term. Now, we had a great sexual chemistry, which is very rare for me. I'm usually the one who is undermatched or who is far left field, I guess you can say. But with this woman, I was able to express a lot of the natures I have about me, and she was totally fine with them. Now, aside from our sexual relationship, our interpersonal relationship was not that great. We had many disagreements. She's very hard stance in her philosophy, but the problem is her philosophy doesn't work. That's one thing you have to understand when it comes to taking a stance, a philosophical one anyways, that if time and time again you see the manifestation of failure, your philosophy needs to change. It doesn't matter if it's a failure in your personal life, if it's a failure in your job, it's a failure at anything that you do. If you are met face to face with failure at every turn, then it is your philosophy that you need to change. It is your core beliefs. It is your perception that you need to fix. Now, mind you, as you all know, I'm the type of individual who likes to teach, especially women, because I believe they are the most misguided when it comes to men and women, because they live in a fantasy world. They live in a world that does not exist here in the reality. So bringing a woman to the reality is not only a harsh experience for her, but is one that can save her from her own demise of self-inflicted wounds. I tried time and time again to instill in her the philosophy that I go by. I tried to teach her the ways of the wolf, but she denounced them time and time again, with combativeness at that. She's one of these women who wants to worship a certain type of man. And I do mean worship. Although this type of man that she wants is a man of principle. What I find strange is that women like this, they tend to be very drawn to masculine men. They tend to be drawn to men who have a direction in their lives, who has rules that he follows, who has a certain way that he walks throughout this life and through this world. And they admire him because of his high level of discipline, and his high level of intellect. Though at the same time, these very women who are drawn to these men of high intellect and high principle and high morality, they don't want that morality placed on them. They don't want that intellect used to get them in line. They don't want those principles to keep them in check. Now, this I find to be strange, because you can't have a quarter with only one side. A quarter has two sides to it. And in order to maintain a quarter, you have to accept both sides. You don't get a quarter with only one side to it. That's not how this works. Therefore, if you want a man of principle and you want a man of discipline, expect as a woman for him to administer that principality and discipline on you. You can't have it both ways. You can't have it one way, where this man lives every speck of his life behind his principles, and then expect him to be lenient on you just because you're his woman, or you're the woman who he wants to have in his life. Excuse the noise. Like I said, I can't seem to find a quiet space anywhere. I think I'm really going to invest in a sound booth because I kind of enjoy the clarity when I listen back to my own videos. But on to the story. You can't have a man who exhibits all of these things and expect him not to apply those things to your life if you are wanting to be a part of his life. Because every inch of his life is ruled by his principalities. Every inch of his life is ruled by his discipline. Therefore, you expect that if you're going to occupy, or you should expect, that if you're going to occupy a space in this man's life, that he is going to apply these principles, rules, and regulations to you. You shouldn't fight. You shouldn't fuss. You have to take the so-called good with the bad. You have to accept that this is the way this man is. Here's one thing that I understand, or rather another thing that I understand. That women have their ideal guy. They know what he looks like. They know how tall he is. They know what he does for a living. They know him, but they never met him. So when they come across a guy who exhibits some of the same features of this ideal man that they have in their head, they automatically assume that it's probably him. Even though he does not fit the bill to 100%, 70% will do for them. But the problem is, within this man that they have in their head, he does not have imperfection. They never account for this man to have a certain level of disposition about him that isn't congruent with their ideal man. Now, this is contradictory because we all know that there is no such thing as a perfect person. So why is it that a woman cannot conceptualize that this man in her head is also imperfect? He has to be. Or does he? I'll tell you why women cannot fathom this man having any imperfection. Therefore, any man that they meet is beneath this man. Therefore, they are always going to hold tight to their hypergamy because they are waiting on this man, and you're just a placeholder. This is why they keep moving up to the next man, because he has more attributes of that perfect guy. But to my point, the reason why they cannot fathom this man being imperfect is because he does not exist in the reality. Everything in the known universe has imperfection to it. Like I've said on my other channel, There are no two atoms that weigh the same. Therefore, there are no two equals that exist in this universe. Therefore, there is no perfection. It doesn't exist. But somehow, this perfect man exists somewhere. The only place that he exists is in their fantasy. There he will remain, and there he will live. He will never be brought to the surface. Now, I specifically bring this woman up because I haven't spoken to her in a long time. Though she has attributes about her that I do enjoy. She can clean her ass off. She can cook decently. And she's pretty good with pottery. And I don't mean it in the sense of making pottery, but in a botany kind of way. So I contacted her and I said, hey, I got a few things that I need to be done. I was wondering if I could have you do a few things. And she said to me, sure, no problem. Now mind you, this is a woman that I haven't spoken to in a very, very long time. This is the imprint. Though I did not imprint her deeply, there's still some resemblance of my imprint there, because it's still there. If she was a woman who really didn't have an imprint, she wouldn't care to ever talk to me again, because we didn't part ways on such a good note. But here we are, having this conversation about the things that I need her to do. Now she says to me, I'll need some things in return. And of course, I know what those things are. But I tell her, I can't do that because I have principle. Now, she is the same one who desired such a man as me. And we ended our relationship, I guess you can call it, on a note where I stood firm in my principle and she walked away, which I'm totally fine with. That relieves me of my responsibility of her. But, like I said, here we are. So I go on to tell her that I can't do that because my principles won't allow me to do so. As much as I would enjoy having you beneath me with my hand around your neck, I can't do that anymore. And she asked why. I'm confused. That's what she said. And I said, because once a woman has been with another man, I can no longer take her back. And the reason why I can't take her back is because I've learned something. That once I took a woman back sexually, it never worked out. And I often wondered why. I still don't understand the full scope of why it doesn't work out. All I know is that there is scriptures in the Bible that say that a man should never take a woman back after she has been with another man. And this is of course related to marriage, but I have a different belief system when it comes to what marriage is than what the Western standard is, which I won't go into in this video. But my point, I am a wolf who stands on his principle. And she is not accepting of that. Though for the same reason that she desires me, it's the same reason why she doesn't